It's Adam and Kevin, the gods of nerd heaven. They'll be making sure that everyone's heard them. They're taking back Nerdom.
It's here. The cultists have gotten their wish, and they have gotten the Snyder Cut.
They've annoyed enough people.
HBO Max, you got Snyder Cut out there. But no, let's talk. This is more of a review. We're not going to go into the deep dive of what's going on behind the scenes. But apparently, I'm going to say it. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and say it right here out of the gate.
Oh, here he goes.
The news is coming out that Snyder Cut is doing very poor in viewership numbers, poorer than they expected. Warner Brothers actually pretty mad. They're actually going to start. There's rumors flowing within the Warner Brothers community and within like the little dirt sheets that they're going to start distancing themselves from Zack Snyder content and all that stuff, because it turns out that that the Snyder cult is actually a little smaller than what Warner Brothers had thought that they were pandering to. Not saying it wasn't deserved, not saying the Snyder Cut wasn't deserved to happen, but the hashtag movement turned out to be a lot smaller than what AT&T and Warner Brothers had initially thought. And so you can all that rumors of now they're kind of wanting, the Snyder people like, well, what's next? Let's get the sequel. Hashtag Snyder sequel. That's going to be dead in the water. That's dead in the water. That's not happening. Warner Brothers, they've seen the numbers and they said they are very disappointed in the numbers of viewership for that show.
They've been saying that lately because the reviews have been good.
The reviews have been good, but actual clicks, actual views, very low.
You think they did this to? I heard a rumor also that their intentions, while it was noble while they were doing it, was also backhanded. Like they were using this as maybe a chance to pull more people onto the subscription of HBO Max.
Oh yeah, probably.
And I feel that way too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell y'all right now, before we start reviewing this, I had no intentions, and I don't even think that they were ever going to make a sequel to this. They did this out of respect for a guy that went through the problem, and he was being bombasted with a movie he didn't get to finish. That's why it's shot in this. A lot of people were complaining also it didn't fit your screen wide. He left it in the ratio that he was going to use for IMAX, just purposely to show, hey, this is my original intent.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to tell y'all now, I'd love to see his version go forward after watching this. There is certain things that he released and said he was going to do I didn't really like, but just the visual, some of the stuff was amazing. But I'm going to tell you right now, if y'all are hoping for a Snyderverse going forward, that's probably not going to happen anyway. I don't think it ever was. I think he's already left the project and he just did this out of honor. He wanted to finish what he started and to respect his daughter that passed away. I think that's the only two motives he had left. And plus, they drug their feet on this. A lot of people that first started wanting to release the Snyder Cut, they drug their feet so long, they're just done with it anyway. Half these people ain't even interested anymore.
Yeah.
You have a window in any project, whether it be DC, Marvel, Star Wars, no matter how popular it is, if you drag your feet, that's like I'm going to tell y'all right now, Avatar fans, Avatar 2 is not going to blow anything out of the water. When you take a millennium to come out with a second movie, the interest is dead. If he would have come back within 2 to 3 years and put the sequel out, maybe. But how long has that been? Wait, like 5, 10? I don't even remember.
Too long.
I don't even know if I'd watch it. My interest is gone for that franchise.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about that.
Let's talk about the Snyder Cut and our reactions, our review of the Snyder Cut.
You know what, Adam?
Do you want to kick it off?
I was going to ask you. I mean, we're going to do this a little different. You watched the whole 4 hours, right?
Oh yeah. It took me 2 days though.
I
watched 3 hours and then I watched the final chapter and epilogue the next day.
I do like the fact that they put them in chapters where there was like a writing of the chapter where right there you could have just stopped. I want to ask you, give me 5 to 10, however many you want, things that were better about this cut than
Okay.
the cut up cut. I'll let you have fun. We know you want to have fun with that bad part. But let's pepper. We're gonna do the opposites.
Okay.
I want to hear your goods, and then maybe if you want to, you can throw my bads, and then we'll flip flop. So what are your goods?
Goods to this cut compared to the last cut.
Yes.
This cut seemed a lot more like serious, I guess, which could be a good or bad thing for some people. I thought that the film took itself serious as an epic film. Okay, that's one thing. I feel like maybe the first one, it didn't take itself serious enough. It felt like a little too generic of how the first one was cut. This 4-hour epic, at least it feels epic. Tonally, it feels epic. Okay, so that's a positive. And that's kind of I'm just gonna, because I honestly, all of my positives were kind of a repeat of that. The characters are a bit more fleshed out. Well, some of the characters that lost screen time, gained screen time. I don't know.
It really is that you have a ton of bads? Is it that bad?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, we're gonna.
But I don't. But you know what's funny though? Yeah.
But you know what? That's cool. That's what makes our show unique, guys.
A lot of criticism.
We don't have to agree.
I have a lot of
nerdom is subjective. Some people like things, some people don't.
No, I didn't hate it. I just have a lot of criticisms.
Okay.
Do you want to go ahead and jump in on the criticisms?
No, because I'm gonna be the opposite from you. My bads will be lower than yours.
Okay.
My bads will be lower than yours, but I think my goods will be further than yours because I watched this movie twice. I soaked it in twice.
8 hours?
Yes.
You mother.
I soaked it.
You motherfucker.
But hey, I also watch some other stuff we do twice because sometimes. I'm old. I'm not old, but you know. But you want to hear my bads? I'll throw them out there.
Hey, you go.
What I disliked about Snyder Cut, there was stuff in there that wasn't needed and felt kind of off-putting. I'll start with the scene where Barry saves Iris. What was the deal with him messing with her hair and being all creepy? Just save her. We don't need to see that. Barry ain't creepy in the comics. Why is he creepy in the movie? That was not needed. The creep kind of off-putting scene where Alfred's griping at Wonder Woman about the tea. That was kind of off. Why is that in there? What purpose, Zack, was that to play in any role? What was it? And Batman, I swear he said this, and I could be corrected wrong. I swear when they went down into the Batcave for the first time, he told them he worked for Alfred. What does he need to say that for? Alfred works for him. Is he embarrassed that he's a millionaire? A billionaire? and then the whole some of the I don't know what you want to call them, whether they be premonitions or views into the future.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, the way they played them out, I think was kind of unnecessary.
And it's because for the average viewer, it would have been confusing.
They just need. We've seen Batman versus Superman. We've seen what's going to happen if something doesn't play out right. Darkseid's going to win, going to take over Superman. Superman's going to start killing everybody. Yeah. The only scenes I thought were cool were the ones that Cyborg seen. Kind of like that looked more intense, where he's just like, you see, they look like Aquaman where Darkseid stabbed him.
No,
and then disintegrates that other one with his eye beam.
Because it was him. Well, see, should I have watched, for me to understand that, should I have rewatched the last movie?
You could have.
Okay, I guess here's my question.
They released an Ultimate Edition before this come out. Well, it had all the extra footage.
Here's my question, I guess, about some of those flash forward scenes. Was in Batman versus Superman, because I can't remember it, did Lois Lane almost die?
No, Bruce. There was a point where Bruce was asleep, and Flash from the future come in
Yeah.
and tried to warn him about something. That's where Bruce gets the motive to think there's something coming in
But
the
that's in
first
Batman
place.
vs Superman.
Yes. That plays into this.
Because but how did he let Lois Lane? What scene am I missing? What am I missing where at some point Lois Lane dies?
Well,
because that's the whole
in Batman versus Superman.
That's why. Because that's the whole premonition. You
Yes.
know, Lois Lane apparently at some point dies, and that's what makes Superman go evil and doesn't help them save the world.
Well, that's not what helps him get evil. That's what
Keeps him evil.
No, that keeps him from being resisted, because the premonition pretty much tells you he uses the anti-life equation on Superman. Well, since Superman had already lost Lois, I guess his willpower to resist it wasn't as great.
Yeah.
So he just succumbed to it. When Flash comes through in that, he doesn't say Lois, but he says she's the key. So, I mean, what other she would he be talking about if he's referring to Superman? It would either have to be Martha or it'd have to be Lois. That's deduction on Batman's part. And then it's reiterated in this new movie, because apparently from what I surmised from it, this is me, that's the thing. He said he made this for comic book fans, and he's true, because there is some things in this movie that you'd have to be a fan to really catch on to. They pretty much are stating that at some point in time, Batman is trusted to watch out for Lois while Superman fights Darkseid head on, his forces. And something happens. They find out Lois is the key to Superman's weakness, and he somehow is not able to save her, and Superman blames him for it. Because in the flashback scene where Superman in Batman vs Superman drops down, he says, "You let her die." Because there's like two parts to that scene.
Yeah.
There's a scene where he goes, "Am I too soon? Am I too soon?" He kind of looks like a ragged dude. I'm like, tell me that don't look like the Flash. And then there's a scene where you see Superman drop down in this cave.
Yeah.
And the parademons are all surrounding him. And then Bruce is all hung up. And he pulls the mask off of him and he says, "You let her die.
Yeah.
She was my world." Well, as the viewer that he's got to be talking about Lois.
Yeah.
So that's where it kind of gets you back into that. But I would also say my other parts I disliked was there's a scene where Wonder Woman is like, there's several scenes with Wonder Woman that I kind of critique a little bit, like, because it just seems like
she murders someone.
No, I don't care about that.
Okay.
In the comic books, she murders.
No,
people.
I know, but okay.
She just seems off-putted. The way they peppered her in,
Yeah.
with the team, she doesn't vocalize a lot. And me being a DC fan as of late, and I've read comics, Wonder Woman ain't quiet about nothing. And it's just the extra peppering they put in there that made it odd. The fact that it was 4 hours, okay, I'll even tell y'all guys, they probably could have cut 30 minutes out of that. And it'd have been an enjoyable movie. In fact, it being cut under 4 hours might have helped it.
Oh yeah.
That's my opinion, because I mean, he had 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours. We know that's been knowledge since 2017, since Whedon got a hold of it. They stated 3.5 hours, R-rated. There was Darkseid in it. The other thing I would say is this: I love they had Martian Manhunter in the movie, but where was his motives at? Like, I mean, I know he was General Lennox supposedly, and he knew Lois, but it was like, if you're showing us Martian Manhunter, why ain't he out there helping them?
He did.
Why wasn't he there? Well, he helped Lois.
He helped Lois.
And then he become a creeper
save...
at Bruce's, and then he become a creeper at the end of the movie and just shows up randomly. Come on. I mean, I'm a DC fan. I'm here to tell you, Martian Manhunter, if you know that character like I do, would not have watched the world. He's on the world.
Here's my problem with the movie. It does not make sense for the entire... Zack Snyder, apparently, I'm going to say it, based off what I watched, he apparently is not good at working with a team of other creators to form a universe. Because I felt like these characters did not act like the characters they are in the other films. I feel like the films are totally different in every sense of the word. It just doesn't... DC has a problem, and they're trying to say, "Oh no, it's just whatever. We're just making movies and make movies," But I feel like DC has a problem with this issue of they're making DC films, but they're all some are supposed to be connected, but now they're not connected because the creator doesn't know how to fit it into that universe.
They don't have a Kevin Feige. That's the problem. I'm not saying it has to be him.
That's why we have to
They don't have no person.
That's why we have a Joker movie and a Batman movie.
Well, no, the Joker movie was on purpose. They've been saying.
No, I know, but even this new Batman movie, they just have random movies, and honestly, this feels like just another random movie. It doesn't feel like it connects to the Wonder Woman. I didn't like the Wonder Woman movie, but it feels like this movie doesn't connect well with that. It feels like it doesn't connect well with the other DC films.
You know why though? To harpen back to this movie never seen the light of day to now. So a lot of the directors that were doing movies were probably watching the popcorn version.
But I can see, but no.
And if you look at Wonder Woman in the Wonder Woman movie, and you look at her here, they are not the two same Wonder Woman.
Well, if you listen to the director, she didn't want Wonder Woman to be that way.
That's DC's bad for not. If you're going to create a shared universe, you can't give them that much flexibility. Yeah. And that's what Warner Brothers did. They want to be known as director friendly, but I agree with you. Yeah. That costs them because you're right. If you watch Wonder Woman 84 and you watch Wonder Woman the movie, her personality doesn't act anything like they do in Batman versus the Wonder Woman in Batman versus Superman. The Snyder Cut is not the same Wonder Woman that are in them two movies.
Yeah,
and there's no reason for her to be that different.
No reason.
Sorry, there's not.
And then, I really feel like this. If I was a studio head, a lot of people are like, we don't know why they cut so much, and like, I'm looking at this movie, I'm like, okay, this scene was cool, but we did not need this. We did not need this whole chunk. Why even have it? This, honestly, there's so much stuff that if you were to make another movie, if you were to make Justice League 2, half that shit should have been cut and put into a lot of the flashback scenes. A lot of the flashback scenes should have been cut, and I would have put that in a Justice League 2 or something. Especially, I mean,
it's the same problem with Man of Steel. It's the same director.
And I understand it looks cool, and I understand it's cool stuff, it's cool references, but there's certain things it's not. If it's not in the universe yet, don't show it. And even if it's in the, like, you know what I mean? So my biggest issue with this movie is that we saw Green Lanterns. I'll be honest with you. I hated that. They showed us.
And you never see them again. It's like there's like two of them out there.
Yeah.
One's already dead and another one has his hand chopped off and then died.
Yeah, but I mean, that scene is for Justice League 2 in the beginning. And then we see whenever Green Lantern appears in the Justice League movie. That's when you show, oh yeah, Green Lanterns were there. Yeah, fine. But there's just too much stuff. That literally, I actually preferred the flashback scene. I preferred the flashback scene in the original compared to this one. Even though it was cool, the fighting was pretty cool looking when they're fighting Darkseid. But I preferred them just whenever Wonder Woman's telling the story about it or whatever. And I preferred when it was just like, yeah, the three people, these people got boxes and they took them away. But no, he wants to show 40 minutes of characters that aren't relevant anymore. That scene was irrelevant to show. The only thing that mattered was that they won and they got the boxes. That scene was pointless and could have been cut. And if you wanted to, and like I said again, I'll say it again to reiterate, that scene, it's a cool scene, but it deserves to be at the beginning of Justice League 2 and not in the middle of a feature movie where with showing shit that you don't need to know.
Actually, I'll do you one better. That scene deserved to be in the beginning of Justice League, like why that would have gave what that scene would have done, and they could have left Green Lantern in there if they planned on putting him in there later.
Yeah,
but that scene would have took away a lot of the fluff because it would have gave you a reason why Steppenwolf was there in the first place,
exactly,
without having to flesh that out. because that you see the world back in the old days. You see them all fight. Now that scene was an important scene. It's just where it was put. I thought because that scene told you why the Atlanteans were like why they were. It told you about the Amazons. It told you about the old gods. It told you about Darkseid. It told you about the mother boxes. That whole scene gave you so much. Why did you need so much fluff afterwards?
Yeah.
You could have put that scene at the beginning and just rolled. And then you're right. This movie should have been 2 movies. They could have had that scene at the beginning of the first movie and led up to maybe him looking for the mother boxes and then maybe cliffhangered it off. A lot of movies do that. And they could have finished the second part of it off.
Yeah.
But why does it have to be just 3 movies? It could be 4 movies.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, Snyder.
Yeah. That whole too many flashbacks and flash forwards put in awkward spots of the movie. This literally, you don't need these flashbacks. How this movie is, this is a chronological tale. If you're doing 4 hours, chronological that shit. So I would have had that first hour. If you really want to do 4 hours, that first hour should have been the
past.
It should have been the past and the future. I would have put the flashback and the flash forward scenes in the beginning.
And then in the middle.
And then in the middle, and then in the middle you have the redo of maybe you could cut it shorter. Cut it shorter. It doesn't have to be an hour, maybe 20 minutes. But cut it shorter. Flashback, flash forward, redo the scene with Batman versus Superman. You're showing that scene, shows that, and then Justice League. Because now you're setting up the fact that, that's what that scene's from. Now Batman's got to stop that from happening.
Yes.
And that's now what the movie. Now you know the stakes. The fact they showed the flash forward at the end of the movie, that's actually weird because they won. Why are they showing what might have happened if they already won and stopped it? That's an odd spot to put it.
Yeah, it is.
That's a really stupid spot to put it. That's stupid.
Hey,
that was
Zack
dumb.
Snyder.
That was dumb. I didn't even think about it, but saying that loud, I'm like, wait, they just put that scene at the end. It already happened. They already won.
Yeah. That
should have been the threat. They should have shown that is the threat. Like Barry Allen already did it. But he wanted to save that for a big tease or reveal, but we already knew it happened in Batman vs Superman. So I don't know. It's just that was a false tease. It was like, or not a tease, a false. It was a fake out. It was a fake out reveal because it didn't reveal anything too crazy. It wasn't like too twisty. That should have been the beginning. That last scene should have been put in the beginning of the film. It makes the cutting of this film doesn't make sense. How the scene placement didn't make sense. The only thing that was cool was that, scene placement didn't make sense. We got longer scenes, which were good, but if it was just placed better, the flow would have been a little bit more. The story would have been told a little more smoother.
And what the sad thing is? As bad as you're ripping on that, and I agree with a lot of what you're saying, the scene placements were still better than what we got in 2017. And I'm going to go through that when I give you my positives.
I don't think so.
Well, we can disagree, but when I get to my positives,
the reason why I don't think so is because at least the scene placements in the original, they were kind of like going. How the original set up everything was Superman. Then they cut this part. They cut the entire beginning out. So I guess that entire beginning must have been.
No, that was Josh Whedon's.
Must have been Josh Whedon.
Yeah.
So
the morning part and all that.
So the entire beginning was the whole. Oh, here's Superman. Oh, he's dead. So Superman, he's dead. Makes sense. We showed him first because he's the character
but we didn't
that we need to save.
They did a big funeral at the end of Batman versus Superman and showed where he got buried and everything.
Yeah.
They showed 2 funerals and showed the world mourn. Then they showed Lois being.
But this movie
Batman.
takes place years later.
We don't need to see the funeral again.
It's not a funeral. You're just seeing like,
we know he's dead.
Well, here's just a reminder before you start this movie. This guy's dead.
They could have just showed Lois at the memorial.
And then we got Batman. So it goes, it's Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash, Cyborg, or is it Cyborg Flash? I don't know. So they showed each character in order in the Whedon version, and then they had a movie. But this one, they cut out the extra Batman scenes, which made Batman was actually weaker in this version than he was in.
You think so?
Yeah,
I think different. I
he
think
was
he's
weaker.
More, I think his personality. I think
he had less stuff to do. He was doing less. This is a 4-hour movie, and Batman is actually doing less stuff in this movie than he did in the hour movie.
In the grand scheme of things, he didn't do less.
Yes, he did.
Okay, at the end, the final scene. What was Batman doing?
They cut out a fight. They cut out the build to him
hitting the parademon. I don't even care about that.
Yeah, but they cut out that. They cut out him trying to figure this stuff out. Him figuring it out. The reason why they cut out his some of his motivations for forming the team. They cut out like a lot of his searching stuff. They open up with him already at the Aquaman place. We get an extended scene of people singing for no reason.
Okay, I'm gonna list why I think that's different.
Okay.
For me, in the Whedon cut, you had him shoot a parademon, talk to a random dude. And the cool thing they did, from what I heard, I don't know if it's true, someone can find this out. The dude that was there, Robin, was supposed to be the same actor that played in the Michael Keaton Batman. When he goes, "Who are you?" and he goes, "I'm Batman." It's supposed to be the same guy.
Oh yeah,
it's a heartback. But in Whedon, okay, he shoots the parademon. Supposedly finds out things just from shooting the parademon, and then you have him over here talking to Diana. And he goes and searches everybody. I'm doing a quick rendition, of course. And then we get a bunch of uncertainty from Bruce, which I did not like. Then there's a spot that shows him vulnerable. They get into an argument, have a drama session. Then his shoulder needs to be popped. Pops his shoulder. He has Lois save his butt from Superman. And then all of a sudden at the end, he didn't really serve a lot of purpose in the final battle. He didn't. He got in there. He pretty much was getting his butt whipped, and all he did at the very end was say "fear." I mean, that wasn't a lot for me. In this one, if you think about it, even though
he just drove his car.
Well, hold on, let me point it out for you.
Okay.
He wasn't shown as weak in this one. You still seen some of the more tougher version, like you got in Batman versus Superman. The ending, he had more to do. He was actually protecting Barry while Barry was running. He saved Barry multiple times, and he was killing a lot more parademons than he did in the first one. And I mean, he did a lot more. He had a lot more to contribute at the end than he did in Whedon's cut, where all he did was stand there with one gun and look so shocked when he seen Superman, and then say "fear" at the end of the movie. This one here, he had a purpose. He went in there and knocked out the shield like he did in the other one. And then when he got in there, he actually protected Barry because Barry had a purpose too. That's another thing I'll say. I don't want to get into this till I get to my positives, but I'll just say, in my opinion, maybe in the middle of the movie, he didn't have as much purpose, but when it counted, he did.
Well, give me your positive. Do it.
First positive. The Bane. No, I just didn't know how to. I don't want to.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
No, hold on. Seriously.
0 positives.
No, that's not it. My problem is different. I'm trying to structure this where it's not like an hour-long session.
Okay.
My positives, we'll start with one, was character development. Cyborg in Whedon's cut we didn't really know his purpose. He was just some angst dude that was upset. And this one, we actually got scenes to kind of understand the character more. That was a positive one. And Cyborg meant more to the story in this one by having some of that stuff fleshed out, even if it was just 2 small scenes. Because unlike that creepy scene with the Flash twirling the girl's hair while trying to save her, these 2 scenes were important. It showed that he did care about his mom. His mom helped make him who he was because his dad was never around. And it actually gave you a good reason why, even though you might have known the reason why he was mad at his dad. It wasn't just because, they didn't show up to his football game. is because, his mom was always there and he felt like he left them all down. He even stated that in the movie. He goes, if you would have been there, maybe mom would have still been alive.
Yeah.
And that was major. And for Wonder Woman, I did not like, I know this is a positive review, that whole, they could have cut that out and just did the rock and roll music. I'd have been happy. She was more Wonder Woman in this movie. If you read the comic books, Wonder Woman is not some nice little pat on the back person. She beats the trash out of people. Yeah. And I love that bank scene. To me, it was way better than the other one. Her flinging people around, that's Wonder Woman. And it actually showed her like she could fly better when she went up in the air and kind of floated for a minute and then threw it. And then she killed that dude. That dude ain't coming back. If there was sequels, that guy ain't there. He's dead. And I liked that they made it more mythological. Wonder Woman was the one that knew the majority of the problem, and it made sense. And another thing, Wonder Woman's woman in Whedon's cut just shoots this arrow 5,000 miles away. We don't know how she's able to do that.
Yeah,
we know she's enhanced, but she's not enhanced as Wonder Woman. This one told you why, because that's Artemis's magical bow. Okay, we understand how that works now. And the whole cave scene was not something I would have kicked out because it provided, but I think it should have been at the beginning of the movie. Maybe it should have. The whole part of that I agree with you on. That whole past scene should have been in the front. It worked in Man of Steel. One of the few good things about Man of Steel was the Kryptonian scene in the front. He should have just went back with that. The other good thing was the Flash. The Flash didn't have hardly no purpose at the end of the movie in Whedon's cut. He literally saved this one random family while Superman's flying everybody else in the building beside him, made him look like trash. And this one, he had a purpose. Just like in the first one, the one thing they gave him purpose is he charged the boxes to help revive Superman. But his other purpose, which was just as important, he had two major purposes. One, to help Cyborg hack the mother boxes, and then his other purpose is he saved the team. Yeah. If he wasn't there, they're done. Even if Superman's there, they're done. So that's another positive. Another positive I'm going to roll with is Superman. I liked that they gave him a little more gruff in this. And just this is the smallest little thing you wouldn't notice unless you watched it twice like me. The whole little moment where he's inside the house and he's acting weird. There's no way you die and just randomly know who you are again. I like the fact that he kind of did that, and then it showed a transition where he was getting his memories back.
Yeah.
And I like that they gave him more fighting scene. And that's Superman. And of course, we knew Superman wasn't going to get a big part on this one. The other thing I liked, the mother boxes. In Whedon's cut, the mother boxes were supposed to be this mother thing. That was never in the comic books. That was dumb. I like the fact that they went back to comic book accurate where they're just computers. Yeah. That's all they are. They're ancient computers that can open gateways and terraform land and whatnot. That made more sense. The other thing was Steppenwolf. Now, some people might not like the way he looked. My wife actually liked the way he looked in the Whedon cut and wished they would have just used that in this one. But regardless of that, Steppenwolf's purpose for being here was better fleshed out.
Yeah.
He wanted to gain back his favor with Darkseid. The major good part was Darkseid. If I say anything else about this movie, Darkseid looked awesome. His graphics looked awesome. And I love the way he acted, even though we didn't get a lot of him.
He got beat easily.
And Desaad, even though we hardly ever seen him, I love the Desaad character. I would have loved to seen like 20 minutes of Desaad in this movie,
They just would have whooped him.
Dude, Desaad, I just love the way he looked at Steppenwolf like he was a little, he says 50,000 more. I just like you a hater. And that's why I was saying, we were having that conversation before about Steppenwolf not being as redeemable. Like Steppenwolf in the first one was talking endearing to Wonder Woman's mom. And this one, he don't care. He says whatever. But did you see what he did to them Amazons in this one? Yeah. Flinging horses? He was killing more people. He was more vicious. I liked Martian Manhunter in it, even though I don't like the way they used him. I wish they're going to put the dude in there. He should have been in there. That's it. To me, all the characters' development was better, and I like the fact that he went to Aquaman first. If you think about it, how would he know? How would he be able to go to Cyborg? Because at the time, Cyborg to him was merely just an idea.
Yeah.
And then the Flash was like all over the place. He didn't even know how to get a hold of him at the time. So it made sense that he visited Aquaman first.
He visits Aquaman first. I'm just saying it shows Aquaman third.
Yeah, you're right on that. But I liked my thing was not necessarily where he put some of the scenes of the characters. The thing where I agree with you on is the flashbacks, like how they placed them. They wouldn't even really need it, because if you watched Batman versus Superman, you got these flashbacks. He could have, if he wanted to use the flashback scenes, he could have put them in the beginning. He could have had Bruce being in bed, and you had seen the flashback scenes, and then Bruce wakes up. Yeah. There you go. Flashbacks are done. Move on. The whole epic battle, I love seeing it fleshed out, and I love that it was Darkseid. It made more sense, and it was Darkseid before he got the powers. Yeah. See, they're supposed to do a New Gods movie, is what they were planning on doing, and it was supposed to also flesh out how Darkseid got his Omega powers.
Okay,
but I don't know. We'll probably never get that, of course. I liked the ending. To me, the ending was the best part of this movie. It was really, to me, what separated this from the Whedon cut. It wasn't some goo coming out of the ground and all this. There was a reason for them all to do, and the League felt more needed to be there.
Yeah.
And in the Whedon cut, it was like, well, we're just going to be here till Superman comes and beats the trash out of him, and then we'll call it a day.
Yeah.
This one here, that's what was cool. That was why the Flash saving them was important, because it was like, even if we got Superman here, folks, we could still lose this.
Yeah.
So the ending, to me, more than any part of the movie,
I agree with that,
was the best part.
Yeah.
Because it felt more serious. It wasn't some goo, and there was a purpose.
Okay. I retract some of the things I said, and I'll say a positive. I agree. The final battle in the Snyder cut is way better than the final battle in the Whedon cut.
Now,
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, but at the end when you showed the Joker, that was fan service.
Yeah,
that was part of the 15 minutes. Joke. That was the part of the 15 minutes that he put in. But I don't know why they did that.
Acted.
Why did they do
that? Well, not even really Joker. It was actually, I thought Ben Affleck poorly acted that scene. I thought that was a poorly acted scene. Poorly placed scene. Made no sense for it to be at the end.
Why were they there all of a sudden? You already knew. Look, if you watch Batman vs Superman, if you've seen the other cuts, what was that scene needed for? If you wanted to put the Joker in there, you could put him in the front with the flashback scene and be done with it.
Exactly.
But I mean, the whole thing is that the ending to this movie was good. The characters themselves, I thought, were better fleshed out in this one, which really helped it out. But it was just, that's my positives. It was just all that I thought was great. But it being 4 hours was exhausting. That's why I had to watch it twice. I literally, the first time, I tried to stay up and watch it when it first came out, and I fell asleep. So I didn't watch the middle of it. That's why I ended up watching it twice.
Yeah. What did you think of the Snyder Cut? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? What were your top 5 hates and loves of the Snyder Cut of the Justice League?
Do you want to see them continue this franchise? Me personally, I like the way they did certain things, but I think they should just move on and reset. If they want to keep some of these actors, they could find a way to do that, because I think some of them fit the parts pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, even Adam, he agrees. I think Henry Cavill fits Superman. I just think a different writer needs to have him. The man's a freaking.
A lot of these people are gone though. They're not. Aren't they not doing it no more? Or
Gal Gadot
Gal Gadot's the only one.
And Jason Momoa still has contracts.
They're two the only ones.
And then Henry Cavill has an appearance supposedly left.
He doesn't even want to do it.
Yeah, I think he's gotten real kind of burnt with WB by the way they treated him.
Oh yeah.
So I could imagine, and plus he's got Witcher and he's got other things popping up.
You know why this stuff happens? Why we let these gothic Michael Bays make movies?
He said at the last video.
You know why we let these things happen? Because we let all these corporate entities, they're buying up properties. Are these corporate? Now they've already owned it for a long time. They do it with cartoons and stuff. But I mean, all these CEO types and stuff that come in, they look at this stuff and they're like, how do we sell the toys? How do we sell this stuff? How do we just make it fluff on the screen?
Yeah.
And then we got to deal with all this crap. We got to deal with Zack Snyder having to come back and release a 4-hour movie instead of just releasing that, a 2-hour movie that he's probably going to release originally. I got to deal with all this stuff because they have control. They have control of Nerdom. And I'm telling you right now.
What are you telling us, Adam?
I tell them they got to subscribe. They got to like. They got to share this video. They got to like and comment on all of our stuff.
They need to hear the truth.
They need to hear the truth because they got to help us help. them.
Take Back Nerdom.
I go to art house cinemas several nights a week. I blog about the classics and buy the DVDs. Directors don't know who I am or care that I exist, but I defend their work for hours at parties when I'm pissed. Media, I gave you all the best years of my life. I tell the world about you on social network sites. When I'm not consuming you, I'm telling others too, and wishing I could hang around the people who make you.